All right, I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is still Daybreak Live Extra on Dominion Television, Ibadan, and it's time for Trend What. What we have today is talking about something very important. Let me read to you. Speaking during plenary, El-Rufai questioned why recently convicted Boko Haram member identified as Hussaini Ismael received a 20-year sentence from a high court, while Ipob leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was handed a life sentence just a week earlier. That's Mohammed Bello El-Rufai, member representing Kaduna North Federal Constituency, decried what he described as unequal justice in the handling of high-profile security cases in Nigeria. And speaking during the plenary, he questioned why a recently convicted Boko Haram member identified as Ismail, just like I mentioned, received 20 years sentence from the High Court, and Nnamdi Kanu had received a life sentence. I read, he said, I don't understand why one terrorist gets 20 years and the other gets life. There is this idea that justice is served differently and it affects the problem, El-Rufai said, echoing concerns earlier raised by another lawmaker. And the Kaduna lawmaker, who apologized for arriving late due to ill health, warned that inconsistencies in justice delivery risk worsening Nigeria's fragile security climate. I want to believe that we all saw the video, before that, sentence, was read out in Nnamdi Kanu, where it was a scene, in the court, that particular day, and then he had to be excused outside of the court, and then the judgment was passed even in his absence. So a lot of Nigerians are actually divided on this matter to say that why was it, given a life sentence, regardless of the fact that we've seen cases, across the country where even people, that were supposed to receive something similar received, a lesser justice. What do you make of this, Samson?
You see, it's really a challenge that the judicial arm of government is really undergoing a serious kind of, I'll call it an attack one way or the other. And, it's not far-fetched. This is bound to happen anyway when you have selective prosecution. Yeah. And these cases, of situations where Mohammed Bello El-Rufai, who has been one of the most vocal on the floor of the House, is not shy from saying the truth and putting it the way it is, regardless of the situation. I think he's quite right with with this assertion. And I've also had this kind of feeling. I've also had this kind of thought. Even before now, we have seen repentant Boko Haram. I mean, who told you Nnamdi Kanu has not also repented? The fact that he is, he talks the way he talks doesn't mean that he doesn't feel a bit of remorse within him. But then, let's put this side by side. If Nnamdi Kanu has been said to be sentenced to life imprisonment, and someone with similar charges also got 20 years, that does not trivialize what Nnamdi Kanu did. That the court said Nnamdi Kanu did, let me put it that way. And that does not, underscore whatever it is that happened in court. But the truth of the matter is, there should be a consistent ruling. There should be a consistent constitution, and we should have consistent judges. There should be, I think in one way or the other, I've gone through some court cases and I've seen judges refer to precedences. Oh, according to this that was done in 1985, the Salome and Shokumbi case, and then the judgment is transferred back to the modern day era and then adjusted a little bit to past judgment. So that is why we have precedences. But the kind of precedence we are setting in Nigeria as a country, I think we are getting it totally wrong. One day we'll wake up and then there will be no charges against terrorism. If you have gone through such situation, that means that whatever life has been wasted by a particular individual will become a waste in totality, and there will be no justice. And another thing I feel is becoming more and more of a challenge is the fact that Nigerians are quick to defend what is wrong. Nigerians are quick to always be on the other side of the divide, as long as it is tribal, as long as it is religious. I think that should be put aside, sentiment aside. When something has happened, just like Bello El-Rufai has said, in fact, it's from the north. And the set of people that are being granted 20-year jail time for terrorism, they're actually from the north. So he understands what he's saying. It's not about tribalism anymore. It's just being factual. It's not about bias. It's just being factual. And the other person who is on the other side of the divide, which is Nnamdi Kanu, is from the east. So automatically, there is no religious coherence between the two, because they are not from the same, they don't practice the same religion. Bello El-Rufai is a Muslim. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I cannot state categorically what is, maybe he's a Christian or not. I don't know, so I don't want to go there. So it is quite clear that they are not of the same religion. They are not from the same hometown. So automatically, they don't have anything in common as it stands. Nnamdi Kanu was never a politician. Bello El-Rufai is a politician. So it is very difficult to see a politician come out and say, look, what you are doing is wrong, and let's call a spade and get things done the way it should be done. So I think that this should be a wake-up call to the judicial arm of government. This should be a wake-up call to the legislative arm of government, and most definitely, because when it comes to making the laws, it boils down to those who are on the floor of the house and what they vote to be done.
An interpretation
of the law. That's another problem that I have with Nigeria. You know, sometimes when a law is passed, there are some people, especially those who made the law, they are in one corner, they know exactly where to plug into. There's a lacuna somewhere. There's, a plug. There's just somewhere, something you can call a loophole somewhere. And it is still the same people that made the law that will bring out the loophole. And where will we end this country? Will there ever be a time when the rule of law is used just the way it should be used? Will there ever be a time that you will not be worried that someone has been arrested by the police and you trust them that justice will be done? Will there ever be a time that criminal will be arrested and then you feel within the comfort of your home, you know that something will be done to that person? If we rob to your house, you are sure that justice will be served to you. But unfortunately, some people will go to police station almost every day to confirm if the criminal that was arrested based on one particular offense committed is still there. Because one way or the other, some people have it in their head, oh, before daybreak it will be released.
No, we have even seen cases whereby if you have a case with someone who has like support from my people at the top, that's
you become the accused.
Just forget about it.
I mean, you really want to report the case, and eventually you become the accused.
The person might be out in a few hours. Honestly,
it's rather unfortunate that stealing is bad, banditry is bad, depending on who is doing it. In the country, and that's because the symbol of justice in Nigeria, the Lady Justicia, that lady that holds balance.
Blindfolded,
and that's exactly what I'm trying to.
And a skill.
It's an allegory that should interpret to everybody. It should be an open interpretation that she is blind to race.
Does not see anyone.
She's blind to religion. She's blind to classes and profiles. She's blind to whatsoever color you have. She's blind to every whatever we can designate you as. It's blind to every coloration. This is justice. Justice in Kaduna should be justice in Ibadan. Justice in Lagos should be justice in Abuja. This is what we are saying, because if we have Lady Justicia to represent the justice system, it means if she's blindfolded, let it be blind to everybody. Whatever is going to be the sentence for one person should be the same for another, regardless of race, regardless of class, regardless of maybe religion and all of that. So what I just want to say is we've seen this time and again, and it's happening at every day because there are loopholes, like you mentioned. I was trying to check into the amendments and the Constitution, especially from the National Assembly in 2022, and I saw a lot of things there. But for one of them, I'll just speak to this very quickly, that we need to start ensuring that the law is as clear and is easy to interpret for everybody. I think we should take some.
I don't think the law is hard to interpret. It depends on who is interpreting. That's why I say sometimes if you know you will not do us well, or maybe do your role properly as a judge, don't bother to study law in the university. Allow people
when they get into
let's take comments. Okay, I think Beth Hugh says it is called selective justices. Okay, that's according to her. And Awakening says, how did terrorists came to be? That's in our word. That's where we
okay. And Obari Chiag, if I'm correct, says, yes, I'm in support of what he said. Honestly, it's a question to ask the federal government. Honestly, and I think some persons are clamoring for amnesty for Nnamdi Kanu. And then Edu Savior is saying selective justice. Okay. Last comment, Chidi, we are in an inconsistent country. No arms of the government works. It's sad, really. And I think one senator even called for the shutdown of the Senate because of the insecurity. And Adam Soshomole also said that, why should someone who is a bandit be served 20 years imprisonment and other persons should get a life imprisonment? It's a lot to unpack. We do hope that changes would start, but they need to start from within, honestly.
All right. Yeah. This will be the convenient point to draw the curtains on today's session of Daybreak Live Extra right here on Dominion Television. And of course, I leave you with this. No amount of influence can trump the rule of law if there's collective will. Samson Balogun is my name. Let's meet again next week. Stay safe out there. Bye for now.
All right, thank you for being a part of the show. My name is Olayemi Adela. Please ensure that you enjoy moderately this time. Bye for now.
And if the justice symbol is blindfolded, let the law be as clear as possible. My name is Anulu Akwedo. Thank you very much for joining us.